How do I do this? Do I have like some sort of quirky intro or like a tease, like a cold open or something? I don't know. And like, am I supposed to put a jingle or something in at some point? It goes, ow, ow. Or how does that work? I'm not sure. Should I? I don't know. I'm back, everybody. How are you doing out there? It has been a hot minute since the last episode of the Luke Who's Talking podcast, and I will tell you why that is the case and what has happened in between, because at least three, at least two big things have happened since, and a third thing that I can think of, which is that big? I don't know. But anyway, let's get into it. The first thing, the explanation, I guess. So the reason why it has been so long since an episode of the show is, I think I explained in the last episode why. So why am I doing it again? Hey, people have short memories. And that is because I have been house sitting for around 10 weeks, and I've actually been back home for a couple, about 2, I think, no, 3, I don't know, but I had things to do in between and all that jazz. So you're getting a show now, okay, don't complain, because you're not paying me. So do you have a right to complain? Well, you probably do, but anyway. Yeah, so I'd been house sitting for some folk, and which was good. I enjoyed it. I liked living by myself. They had a dog there, so I was living by myself and looking after the little dog. And quite honestly, I didn't really want to come back home. If I'm honest, I liked my living away and that sort of stuff. Now I'm back home and I feel like, it's not bad, but I'm just sort of I had a little bit of something, I feel, before when I was not living at home, when I was house sitting, and I've just sort of lost that little bit of, I don't know, something I kind of had. I'm not sure. Anyway, but it was really nice though, house sitting, quite enjoyable, low stress, easy, and I've got more coming up. I've got more house sitting coming up as well. So that may cause some, delays with the podcast in the next, through to the new year. But anyway, there's a warning for you. So that's one thing. Well, that's the reason why the podcast has been a hot second since there's been one. So what has happened in between? Well, I have got myself a job. I've got myself a job at an architectural office. Yes. Now, I'm not an architect, but as I think I had mentioned in earlier episodes of the show near the start of the year, I had started going back to school and doing a drafting course. Now, the one I was doing was engineering drafting. Keep that in mind, engineering drafting. So I had got in touch with a few architecture firms around town because my thought behind doing the drafting was, hey, when I was younger, I wanted to be an architect. Like when I was in high school, I wanted to be an architect. But didn't want to do, the 5 years or whatever to get a university degree. So last year, I was having a bit of a crisis. And I thought, hey, maybe I could be a drafts person because it is the same but different. I don't have to do 5 years at school. So I had a look. I found a course which was for this year. Got into it. It was online. Wasn't really enjoying it too much because I don't think it was good for my learning style. But anyway, so I got in touch about, I think it was August time. Got in touch with a few architecture places around town, and one got back in touch and they said, hey, come on in for a chat for an interview. So I went in, had a talk with a couple of the guys there, two of the partners in the business, and they offered me a position, which I started in late September. So it has been about 6-7 weeks. Where's the calendar? Let me have a look at the calendar. It has been September. I'm sure I started on the 26th. So we'll say that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So next week will be week 7. No, this week will be week 7. Next week will be 2 months, 8 weeks. So, yeah. And the guys were like, we'll get to Christmas, we'll see how it's going. So, it's been good. Look, I've had jobs in the past where you get to a point, sometimes, it might take you a while for it to happen. But my last job, this happened within probably just after a month, I reckon. Maybe week 3. I don't know. Anyway, but at some point, you'll get to a point, I feel, where you'll get up and you'll be like, I don't want to go today. But I've not had that yet. Now, it doesn't say it won't happen, but I've not had that yet. And the office is pretty low stress. It's pretty quiet. There's no drama. We have a bit of banter and that sort of stuff with each other. So I think just the office environment is good. And yeah, it's been good. Not sure what to say. Yeah, so I got a job at a architecture office, being a draftsperson, I'm a architectural technician. That is my title, architectural technician. So thus far, I'd say it's been quite good. Now, it could go tits up, and this time, but next year, I feel like, so I got the flick, or it didn't work out. But so far, it's been good, and So it's very interesting. I got a job with no qualifications in, the design / architecture space. Why didn't I try to do that earlier? I don't know. Anyway, that's one thing that has happened since I've been away. Another thing, I'll go in chronological order. I'll finish with the big thing. But the thing in the middle was I was elected president of a group that I've been on the committee of for, I think, 3 years, and I was elected president. Not particularly wanting to be president, though, I'll say that. But nobody else, apparently, wanted to be president, and the current president was giving it up, and, they left quietly, right? Imagine that. A former president leaving quietly, fading into the background. What a concept that is. Yeah, so I am also a president, and I have said that I'm only going to be the skipper for a year, and I've laid out my manifesto. Also, I was talking to my mum earlier this week, and also somebody else who's been newly put on the committee, and we were saying, so our group, we basically, we are a cycling group, and one of our things is we put on rides during the week, community rides, all that sort of stuff. Also, one of the things we do is talk to, advocate to council about better cycling infrastructure. Now this is some manifesto stuff. You're getting this before committee do, but I think we need to roll it back, because we have been talking to council, hounding them, hounding's probably the wrong term, but talking to them for quite a while about, hey, are you going to improve like bike lanes, cycling infrastructure, etc. around the city? And they always have some piss weak excuse why they haven't done it. So my opinion is, at this point, they've done all for us, so we should not engage with them like anymore. It's just a waste of time. You know, you say, hey, council, are you going to put a bike lane down here? Oh, we don't have any money for that. Ho, ho, ho. And you're like, sure. So, yeah, that's that. What else? Somebody I know got hitcheroonied. Yep. Somebody I know got married. And got to say, it was a pretty good wedding. I've been to a few in my time, and I reckon that was the best one I've been to. I did have to go across the country to get there. It was in WA. Interestingly, while I was in Perth, never been there before, but my first impressions was it's like a big small town, really. Like it's a big city, but I felt that it lacked like the vibes that Melbourne has, for example. So that was something interesting. Yeah, but anyway, so my friend got married. It was a wholesome wedding. There was some traditional stuff happening. And yeah, the bride's family was there, like all of her family. She's a very family-orientated lady. And yeah, I don't know what to say. That was good. Had some time with... I had a breakfast wine. So, from the island, I couldn't get a direct flight to Perth, so I had to take a flight to Melbourne. Now, I took the first flight out, which is like 6:30 a.m. Luckily enough, a friend of mine who was also going to the wedding was on the same flight. So when we got to Melbourne, it's about 7:30, right? We hadn't had any breakfast, so we went and had some breakfast. And we went into, what was it called? The place, Biggie Smalls. There was a place at the airport called Biggie Smalls. And my friend was like, hey, time doesn't exist in airports. Let's have a wine. So we had a breakfast wine and a kebab. So a breakfast wine and a breakfast kebab. I had what was mine? Mine was like a cheeseburger kebab. It was basically like a Big Mac. I would describe it as a Big Mac, but in a wrap. So, yeah. So that was good. And, yeah, got over to Perth. I don't know what I'm saying it like that for. And had a look around the city, and then went down south, which is where the wedding was. And, yeah, it was a nice time, nice few days with the friend group. And, yeah, the wedding was nice as well. So, and look, I said this, I'll wrap it up after this little thought, but I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said to them, at various points will harp on to this particular person about, oh, geez, why am I, single for? Why can't I find a lady? Blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, I think that, it doesn't really matter. Like, that's like a want, not a need sort of situation, if I'm honest. Because I think what is more important is that having friends whom are have solid partners, or who have good folk in their life. So, my friends, a friend now has a wife, and they're a very wholesome, solid lady. Another friend of mine has a partner. They're a very wholesome, solid person. And, my friend that I had the breakfast wine with has a very wholesome, solid partner. And they've all integrated well into the friend group. And it's very nice. And I think that if you're going to be a single person, I think it is good, I feel, to go, okay, well, I'm single, that doesn't really matter, but my friends whom aren't single, are they with solid folks, which I'd have to say all of mine are, and I think that is that's probably more important, really, because it's not fun having or knowing somebody who is in a crummy relationship with maybe not necessarily an awful person, but just not in a great relationship situation. That's not particularly fun for anybody. So, as I said, it doesn't really matter ultimately if I am or am not, in cahoots with somebody. But I think it is important that friends who are in relationships are in good ones with wholesome, solid people. There we go, everybody. There we go. And, also now that I've got things happening like having a job where I need to be learning stuff, what is the what is the code? What is the building code for accessibility? How wide does an ambient toilet have to be? It has to be 900 mil. We make ours 920, so we have a little bit extra. And, you got to have handrails on it. There you go. And you can't have anything, protruding into the flow area. There you go. Exciting stuff. But, yeah. Anyway, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this return episode, if I could use that term. And, I'll catch you later. Now, look, here's a little bit of spice for you. On Black Friday, I'm going to try and get myself a Rodecaster Duo. Now, the price, I think, is far too much for what it is. Heck, I lust for one. So if I can get one at an okay price, I'm on it. I'm on it, Babs. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you next time.